was one of the last sutta of the collection of suttas that were actually written down, orally transmitted. So Maha Parinibana Sutta talk about the in the Dika Nikaya. Okay, so as a Buddhist, we need to read. So suttas are there, and we should treasure the suttas. It's been passed down 2,600 years. So there are a lot of suttas, depending on your appetite. So you might like to read long or middle or short length. So you should read sutta every day, if possible, just like the Christians read their Bibles. The Muslims chant 5 times a day. So as Buddhists, we also should read the Dhamma. So we want to read the suttas to remember the teachings of the Buddha. So this Maha Parinibana Sutta is one of the long discourses of the Buddha. Okay, and it is one of the last. So Maha Parinibana Sutta, so since there are children, I will cast it in story form. Now, long time ago, 2,600 years ago, right? And there was this king, and his name is Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru means unborn enemy of the king, his father, because eventually he killed his father for the throne, right? 8 years before the Buddha's Maha Parinibana, he did that. He, on the instigation of Devadatta, he actually killed his father for the throne. And in his sort of restlessness, he wasn't able to put his mind at rest. And fortunately, there was a physician, Jevaka. He brought this King Ajatashatru to the presence of the Buddha. And the Buddha gave a discourse to him, and that discourse was Samannapala Sutta. Samannapala Sutta is a number 2 discourse. And the Samannapala Sutta says, what are the fruits of being a samanya? What are the fruits of being a practitioner? What are the fruits of being a bhikkhu? So he says that the first fruit, if you shave your hair, if you don the robes, you will be given due respect by the public. And if in Thailand, the king will bow down to you, as well as the queen. So this is the first fruit. And then the second fruit would be that you will get your requisites. But then, because you practice the sila, you will get the benefits of the practice of non-wrongdoing. You are happy with yourself that you only do the right practices. And then if you do the concentration practice, you enjoy the jhanas. If you do the insight practices, you enjoy the insights. And then the fruits of the Arya. So these are the fruits of the Arya, and that any practitioner can get that fruit. Okay, so the Buddha gave this discourse to Ajatashatru. And after that, he became a very strong supporter of the Buddha. Okay, and in this very strong support for the Buddha was very important. By the end of that sutta, Samannapala Sutta, the Buddha told the bhikkhus that were there that if the Ajatashatru did not kill his father, he would realize the first step. But because he would understand the Dhamma. But because he killed his father, he could not understand the Dhamma. It was a heinous crime. But eventually, he was actually a very strong supporter of the Dhamma. And he was instrumental in supporting the first Buddhist council. That's where we get all these suttas, right? But even that saying this, that Ajatashatru killed his father, and he did not realize, we also remember that Maha Moggallana also killed his parents. Okay, so, and he finally also became one of the chief disciples of the Buddha. So it is to say that Buddhism is not pessimistic. If you try, then you will also realize, not in this life, but in other lives, if one has committed a heinous crime. Okay, that is Ajatashatru. Just to introduce to you Ajatashatru. So in this Maha Parinibana Sutta, Ajatashatru became a king, right? He had blood on his hands. And then later on, you know what a king need to do, right? If you are a CEO of a company, you need to expand, right? If you are a king, you can't sit on your laurels, and then that's your own that state. As a young king, he would want to expand. So he decided that he would expand to his neighboring kingdom. And his neighboring kingdom was the Vajrayans. Okay, the Vajrayans. And so he asked his minister, Minister Vasakara, come. I need you to go to the Buddha, pay respect to him, bow down at his feet, says that Ajatashatru pay respects to you, and that I want you to ask him whether I would be successful in conquering the Vajrayans. You see what kings ask of the Buddha. It's not surprising, right? People will go and ask. We all know about ministers going and ask fortune tellers, will I be successful? So Ajatashatru is also the same. Ajatashatru went to ask, he got a runner. So he asked his runner, go ask the Buddha, okay, whether I will succeed in conquering the Vajrayans. What do you think? You go and ask when he actually says, the first precept, Panatipata, right? Do not kill. And here there is this war. This person want to wage war on another. But he has to answer, right? This king asked, so he turned to Venerable Ananda. And then he turned to Venerable Ananda. Then he says, Venerable Ananda, did you hear me talk about the 7 conditions of welfare to the Vajrayans? Right, 7 conditions of welfare. Then he says, if they maintain, if the Vajrayans listen to their advice, if you listen to their advice and keep remembering them, then they will not fall. So what are the conditions for the welfare, for the unity of a nation? Right, there are 7 conditions. So he says the first condition is meet. You must meet first, right? It's important to have meetings. You must meet. And so we now like to transpose, we like to now think of a nation. And then you actually go down to your workplace, to your own department, to your own family, to your individual friendships. You must meet. Meet, So you must meet. In order to have harmony, unity. So we are talking about the 7 conditions. Unity, you must first meet. Meeting is very important. So this is M. Remember M, M for mother, M for money, M for morality. M, you must remember meet. Meet first. What's the second thing that you have to do? M, then you must. When you meet, you cannot quarrel. So in the Taiwanese parliament, sometimes you can see them quarreling, right? Trolling, right? Okay, pulling, right? Punching, right? Okay, so you must meet every condition. It must be in harmony. So M, H. H, home, harmony. Remember, harmony. Without the O-N-Y is harm. Okay, so if you don't have harmony, you have harm. Harm to your own nation, harm to your own department, harm to your own family, harm to relationship. You must meet in harmony. Okay? Then A. Ancient laws. Ancient laws. Ancient traditions. MHA. So what does MHA? Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, very important. You want to maintain harmony. Meet, harmony, and then ancient. What's the ancient laws? You do not abolish ancient laws and don't anyhow put in new laws just because of some condition. The old ancient laws have to be respected. What are the old Asian laws? Singapore only 50 years old, but then we all have, when the Sir Raffles Stanford came. So we have some years here, right? In the beginning, no gambling. Then now we have gambling casinos, right? So new law put in. Then now we found that the addiction news, right? Addiction news, we all found that addiction, this is one of the highest. Other addiction has gone down, but addiction, gambling addiction has gone up. So actually, this one is ancient tradition. When we think about ancient laws, we have to respect the ancient laws. That is only one small, some people might not agree with me about the gambling. But then there is another one, do not litter law. That do not litter law sort of like disappear already. Now there is a lot of littering, right? Okay, so I'm just saying, just a very brief to say ancient laws. Okay, then next, what do we have to do? You see, actually, when the Buddhists have a structure, he actually flow. You see, when you read the sutras, it actually flow. Then the next is, you have to respect the elderly. Okay, elderly. E, elderly. If you don't respect the elderly, what will happen? Wow. So if you don't respect the elderly, the experience, the wisdom of the elderly will be lost. Right? And that it is only the mind. We have all gray hairs, okay? And that we always look out with young eyes. There's always growth, right? So there is, the elderly has to be given the due respect and honor. Okay, so elderly is an area that has to be respected. Elderly. If you don't respect the elderly, then there is a problem in that society. So so Singapore is doing well, right? You have the pioneer cards. Okay, elderly, and then it flows, right? Ancient law, elderly. Then after that, F, female. E, after E will be F. Remember, after I go and flip over and ask you all what they because learning is like you only listen and then after that forget. So you must have all this to remember. EF. What is F? Female. So I hear the voice of the female saying the female. What happened to the M? The male voice. So female. You must respect the elderly and the female. Right? So they say in that ancient law, they say that do not abduct female and keep them. So we all know that ancient India, they like to do that. It has not much change since that time. I must not be too. So female is important. Respecting the female is very important. And then after that, there is S, EFS. as shrines. So in the time of the Buddha, in the first sutta, Brahmajala Sutta, he talks about that there are 62 worldviews. So similarly, in the Vajjan country, yeah, they have, they have practitioners with the 62 worldviews, right? Yeah, and then of course you have the 62 worldviews. You have the Brahmas also, the Brahmins also, the caste system. So you will have shrines. You have shrines to honor. So it is a multi-religious culture. So when there is multi-religious culture, you must respect the shrines in the country. You must respect your churches, the mosques, the whatever shrines in your country, you have to respect. So then there will be multi-religious harmony. So these shrines, elderly, female. Okay, so 6 already. So all this all common sense, right? Then after that, the 7 is the Arahant. So this is quite common, right? Meet, harmonious, ancient laws, elderly, female, shrines. And then Arahant. It says the place must be conducive. You must protect the Arahants. You will also, when you protect the Arahants, you must also support them. So actually, it's to support the ascetics. Okay, and then this would actually, Arahants here are usually found only in the Buddhist dispensation. So you can see that he add in the 7, the Arahants. So the Vajrayans were supporting the Buddhist, Buddha and the Sangha and the Sasana. Okay, afterwards I asked, MHAEFSA, right, huh? So 7 conditions of welfare. He spoke this to the Vajrayans at Sarananda shrine, right, huh? And then they keep to these 7 conditions. So the minister Vasakara said that, if they keep to only 1 condition, he wouldn't be able to conquer the Vajrayans. He says if they only keep to 1, meeting only regularly, so if they keep to 1, I won't be able, the Ajatashatru won't be able to conquer the Vajrayans. But this wily Vasakara, the minister, says, we will enter and disperse. So you see, I must be careful, like planting a mole. You see, so people now, they are very frightened that the ISIS will plant the mole in the migrants, right? Huh? They are afraid of that. So anyway, so the 7 conditions of welfare, these are the conditions for uniting. Okay? So you can think about this. Now, after that, Vasakara paid respect to the Buddha and then left. Okay, after the Vasakara had left, this minister, the runner, had left, he then tell Ananda, call the bhikkhus here. I want to talk to them. Because his next topic would be the 7 conditions of welfare for the bhikkhu. So same. For the bhikkhu, now they must meet regularly and meet harmoniously, and that they should keep to the ancient Vinaya rules and then don't abolish and don't put in new ones. I mean, it says to actually respect the ancient tradition. And then the elderly monks have to be respected, and that do not give in to cravings that will cause rebirth. And the shrines, he says, go for the forest retreats, and that the practice is to be mindful. So even when he gives advice to practitioner, it doesn't means it's only for bhikkhu. It is also for lay people like us to understand and practice. So you must meet your group harmoniously, any group harmoniously, meet and harmoniously, and then maintain the precepts, maintain the ancient precepts. Says not 5 precepts, 4 can already lah. Cannot, huh? All 5 precepts. Now people take intoxicants, right? Or what is a drink? So they say, a man takes a drink takes a drink takes a man. Same, no? So you take a cigarette takes a cigarette, and then the cigarette takes the man. So I always talk about alcohol and smoking. So avoid those 2 and other things as well. Anything that causes you to be addicted. So the elderly, we must respect. The vulnerable, the female, we also have to respect. And the shrines in our country and elsewhere too. If we go, because we visit other countries a lot, right? So we don't want to end up being disrespectful to other shrines. So we all heard about the Mount Kinabalu incident, right? So here it is, you must understand that you have to pay respect to other shrines as well. And that we have to practice the sila, the samadhi, and panya. Right? Okay, So the Buddha never give short discourse. This is a long discourse. So this is the first part. Then the second part of it is first to the Vasakara, second to the monks. Then after that, he got 7, no? So that is one set for the welfare, another set for the monks. Then he says, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? Because you want to develop 7 qualities. 7 qualities. What's the purpose of doing all that? MHA and EFS and A. What is the purpose? So that you develop 7 qualities. 7, quite important, 7, 7, 7. Right, 7 qualities. What are the 7 qualities? So he says faith. I prefer to call it confidence. Confidence, faith. Faith in the religion, faith in the triple gem, faith. And confidence, right? You have to develop confidence in the religion, in the faith, in your practice, in the triple gem, faith, confidence. M. M is what? Mind, okay. M is mindfulness, okay. M very moral, dread, and fear. So you must have moral fear first, that you do not commit any wrong. So it's the 5 precepts thing. But then 5 precepts is very specific, right? So the fear that you may commit any wrong, that the wise would censure. Right? So the means must justify the ends. You say your intention, but then if you cheat, then if you want to satisfy the end, you have a wrong means, then it's also wrong. Then there must be a moral fear and a moral dread. Right? Moral fear and moral dread. I like CME. You have to continue moral education. CME, in the medical, we have to CME, is continuing medical education. But this one is continuing moral education. Education means you have to continue to learn. You have to continue to read the sutras. You have to continue to reflect. They say knowledge is power. So you must read. We are so connected. But what do we read? You must read that adds value to your mind development. And I also encourage sutta reading. So learning. And then you must have the resolution, okay, the determination to practice. When things are doing well, you don't feel like practicing. It's a ha-ha time, right? But then when there is dukkha time, then you start practicing. Also good, but you must also practice during the training. It is the training that you can meet the war. So when you have national service, it's in order that you are trained up, okay, so that you will be able to fight the war. It's actually the mental war we are talking about, the mental dukkha. So the resolution that you have to continue to practice, resolution and mindfulness and wisdom. He said these are the 7 qualities. So with that, you have to develop 7 qualities. Heavy, these 7 qualities, are they heavy? You all look so heavy like that. 1, 2, 3. This one got 3, moral dread and moral fear, then 4, 5, 6, 7. So the thing is that 7 qualities we hope to achieve is that we have confidence, we have moral dread and fear and dread, you educate, and you are resolute. You must put forth the energy and the mindfulness and wisdom for development. And then, okay, this one you yourself think of the acronym CMERMS, whatever. Okay, ready? Okay, Then we have this very small board so. Okay, then he says how to do this. How to do this. How to do this. Then he said the 7 factors of enlightenment. He's speaking to Bhikkhu. 7 factors of enlightenment. How? Say 7 qualities you want to achieve. How to achieve? So there are 7 factors of enlightenment. So it starts off with mindfulness. Then what? Investigate. You must always investigate because otherwise, because a lot of things are mistaken, so you must investigate the truth. Investigate, and then when you investigate, when you do the CSI, okay, when you investigate, you must investigate. Nobody is not the butler who did it, right? You must investigate. You might not know who did it, so you must know who did it, so you must investigate. But it's not who, it's conditions and the 3 roots. So you have the energy. When you have energy, you will have rapture, you will have tranquility, you will have concentration, and then equanimity. So mindfulness of the 4 foundations. To achieve those above qualities. Don't look at this so chim, okay, not chim. This one just start with the mindfulness. We all do this, but the Buddha structured it in that way. Okay, mindfulness, investigate, you have the energy, and then after that you're happy, you're tranquil, you're very concentrated, and you are very equanimous at the end. Okay, so these are 7 factors of enlightenment that can be developed to its fullest, right? So now we just sort of like know it, because I don't want to see you all get too heavy. Okay, you see, after that he said how to do it. How he do it already? How to do it? Then he went off. You happy, right? Equanimity. So when you practice technically, when you practice the mindfulness, eventually you can be equanimous. Technically you are very happy, but not penetrative yet. So he then go on to say that you have to be reminded of the 7 perceptions. what are the 7 perceptions? Impermanence, P-A-N, impermanent. Impermanence, so you have to be reminded of impermanence. So all conditions come and go. So like, you come here 11 o'clock, after that 12:30 you all will all go off. So it's impermanent, right? So this is a gross impermanent. Like now you're sitting, after that you'll be walking to the toilet, or eating. All these postures are impermanent. But of course, impermanent is that, like death. Or death is loss of whoever loved one. This is impermanent. And that sometimes you lose, jobs, etc. Impermanent. Right, impermanence is your breath is impermanent. In, out, impermanent. Right, So the contexts are impermanent. In the end, whatever you hear, you smell, you taste, whatever is impermanent. I always say that we are all amoeba. We are all just like one amoeba. You know what's an amoeba? Just a one cell organism. So this one cell organism, we are like that, but we are multi-cell organisms. This one cell organism, contact noxious environment will move away. Pleasant environment, got food, will move towards it. We all are like that. We all are like that in the sense that we in contact. If it's pleasant, we go for it. And then if it's unpleasant, we move away. This is for survival. In samsara, we survive samsara through greed, hatred, and delusion. We are all here because we have greed, hatred, and delusion. Right, And greed is because there are pleasant feelings. Okay? And then hatred because there are unpleasant feelings. But we do not know we are deluded because we don't know that all these are impermanent. So we are here again and again because we have our craving. So these are the roots why we come again and again. It's because of the delusion of greed, hatred, and delusion. So impermanence is something is the reality. It's a reality, but we don't want to see. What we think is pleasure is actually painful. What we think that it is, we think that it will be a promotion of or what we want, the 4 C's, cash, credit card, car. So these are craving. They all have start with a C, all craving. So all this craving, the Buddha says, will lead you to debt. Craving is equivalent to debt. So we all have a lot of credit card debts, right? So you see, craving and it is like something that you move towards. So like an amoeba, we move towards something pleasant. This is in our DNA. In our survival, we move towards something pleasant. Right? Then we move towards it. So we are like amoeba, we move something very nice. Nice food. This is our survival. Nice, we want to eat. Then unpleasant, we move away. But now we have a choice. We are lucky we are in this environment where we do not have to live from hand to mouth. We have all the hawker centers, so that it's very easy to get our food. But then we are like in a Deva realm, and when we are Deva realm, we don't practice. But actually, we have to practice because it's only in the human realm that we can see the dukkha. And it is to see that this movement wanting and not wanting, this part of it will actually leads to a lot of suffering. So he says to stay in the equanimous state. How to stay in the equanimous state? not wanting, not moving towards or away. Steady like a rock, steady like a mountain. Okay, impermanence. And then he says, in non-substantiality. So he says non-soul. Non-soul. What is non-soul? So it's a difficult concept, but it is like you cannot control. If this is there's money in your pocket, right? Got money in your pocket, no, credit card in your pocket. Okay, so it is yours to control what you want to buy. So there is a control. It's something you can control. Then it's called yours. So you can say what you want to do with it, you can control it. But the body, can you control it? You know you have involuntary muscles. You have to go to the loo after that, you know. You have to go to the toilet. This is some part you cannot control these functions. You have to go to the toilet, you have to empty your bladder. It's beyond your control. You can control until the toilet lah. Okay, So there are some things that is beyond your control. For the function of this body, it's really beyond your control. You have to breathe in, you have to breathe out. It's beyond your control. Your heart is beating, your guts are moving, they are all working, and it is involuntary muscles. It's beyond your control. So do you control your body? You can eat, you can exercise, you can do whatever you want. But can you really control your body? You can say, don't shit ma, don't pee ma. The body will go to a disease state. A disease state. You have an easy state now, you're comfortable, but it will go to a disease state. When you go to a disease state, you cannot say, don't be like that, don't be like this. So it's not something for you to control. So the breath, the posture, the activities, the Buddha says the body is not self. Right? So there's not self, so it's not yours. You are just a tenant. The house not yours. Right? So now, but then there is no tenant even. Because the body is one, then you have the other aggregates, the feelings, the perceptions, the mental formations, and the consciousness. Is all this other part of it is also impermanent. Okay, it's also impermanent. Earlier on, maybe angry, now happy. Okay, feelings change. Okay, provided what you're listening makes you happy lah. Okay, so contact. So contact is the point. Contact will give you feelings. Contact will give you perceptions. And then this will drive you to think. And then, of course, you must be conscious to do all this. You must use your consciousness for your 5 senses or for your mind. But this is responding to the context. Like I say, you're amoeba. You're moving in an environment. And now you just stay in this environment. This is quite a safe environment. But then when you go out, you are actually moving in an environment, in the outside world, in your family, etc. You will be moving like an amoeba and in contact with a lot of contacts. And when you contact, you have feeling, you have perception. And this perception means you draw on your memory. You draw on your memory. You must react fast. Okay? Because your biological system is geared for survival. And that you have to react. So feeling, perception, mental formation is actually this system is geared for survival for the organism. And this perception must go to memory and then react. But now when we are cultivating, we can have mindfulness, and you have a choice not to react. You have a choice to just see things as they are, that these are conditions that come and go. So that's the non-substantiality, non-soul, non-ego. We are just an organism moving in the environment. And depending on your cultivation, you respond in a certain way. So you will know yourself, what is your root response. When there is a contact and it is noxious, do you fight? And then you scold or you punch. What is your response? That's the fight response. Or is that a flight response? Wow, trouble come already, quickly run. Okay, flight response. Or the freeze response. Stand still so the enemy won't see you. Okay, so that you're on the floor, won't catch you. So there are responses: fight, flight, freeze. So these are just responses for your survival. For survival, so that you learn the Dharma and then you realize. Okay, there's a survival for what? They all say, so already cannot learn, no use. No, as long as you have a mind, you can learn, you can grow, you can flourish. So there's no such thing as old mind. It's just arise and pass away. Right? Yeah? So then he talked about impurity. Impurity of the body. Impurity of the body, that means the foulness of the body. True or not, the body foul or not? Your urine's nice smell or not? Foul smelling, right? But actually they use the urine of horses for perfume. Okay, feces smelly or not? Okay, so there's a lot of people who don't like nursing jobs, right? So it's a noble profession because we consider the body, if the excrement as foul smelling. But actually, we are a container of feces and urine and vomiters, right? Inside, inside, it's actually true, right? You vomit out, will you take the food back? You won't, right? So you have a toilet, right? You flush all the impurities. So we are actually impure in the sense, so you don't have to cling on to the body. So it is impure. Then he says that this body, he said is wretched. What wretched? How can you say my body wretched? But actually, it falls sick, it does its ways, you can't control things. It's actually quite wretched. And then you have like relinquish. Don't hold on so much. No need to seek so many opinions, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth opinions, just to tell you a diagnosis, right? But this is what happened when there is no clinging on. Relinquish, then dispassion, disenchantment. And then 7 is cessation. This is teaching to the bhikkhus, and he says that the 7 factors of enlightenment, you go to equanimous state. After practicing the 7 factors of enlightenment doesn't mean that big E, you get enlightened. You just go to a state of equanimity, but he reminds them that these 7 perceptions you must be reminded: impermanence, non-self, impurity, wretchedness, disenchantment, and then cessation. Okay, this part maybe a bit chim, but never mind. He rounds it off. He rounds it off with the 6 conditions. Six conditions. There is loving kindness. Say loving kindness. Loving kindness to yourself and to others. You say it's loving kindness to yourself. That means you must be kind to yourself and to others. To in private and in public. In public, I might not put on proper clothes because so many people looking at me in public. I must give a good show and not my sloppy pajamas self, right? A public. So in private, you also must be in a good form. That means the loving kindness must be practiced in public as well as in private. So we all talk about the 7 perceptions already. Then in the practice further, it says loving kindness. So loving kindness means you wish yourself safe. You wish yourself well. You wish yourself healthy. You wish yourself at ease. And you wish others also, may they also be safe. May they also be well. May they also be at ease. And wish others in the room, outside the room, in the country, in the world, that they are safe and well, peaceful, right, at ease. So this loving kindness will actually, he tells, that you can read the sutras again and again. The Buddha already enlightened, but he will practice loving kindness every day. He says to the first quarter, the right first quarter, the left front quarter, the back, below, around. So he practiced it so well that when Anala-giri, the mad elephant came, he has enough power, can stop him in his tracks. So loving kindness to yourself and to others has to be practiced so that the meditation does not become dry. It has to be embracing loving kindness. The Buddha says that in this practice, loving kindness, one can attain to. He says that you attain the volition, it's just to give up the volition only. Right. So loving kindness in private and in public, that one has to practice. So when you catch yourself scolding, saying harsh speech to your relatives because they are your near and dear and so can hear your ventilation, you must catch yourself. So the practice, so loving kindness in public and in private. Then you have to share in public and in private. He says, he tells the bhikkhu, share everything in the private and in public, whatever that you receive. And that they have to be trained in the rules, the Vinaya rules, and that they would actually support the insights that the Buddha talked about. So this is about the practice. So in summary, I talk about the 7 conditions of welfare for a nation. So I said the 7 conditions of welfare for harmony, for a nation, for office, for your family, for yourself. So what are they? There are 7. What are they? Meet harmony, meet harmoniously, ancient law. E, F, then S, and then A. Good, Okay, 100%. Okay, so then it's transposed to get those qualities. The monks, the practitioner also have to do that. Then after that, the 7 qualities that they want to cultivate. And then he tells you that the 7 factors of enlightenment. And then after that, he says 7 perceptions that you have to think about. Impermanence, non-self, impurities, right? And then you have wretchedness, relinquishment, dispassion, and cessation. That then, after that, you practice loving kindness, sharing, training, and then the insights. So I 12, 15. So now it's supposed to be question and answer time. So what questions do you have for me? Wow, you all understand completely already. So, good. No questions? Or too shy? Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. It's actually a tongue-in-cheek question, not really a question.
Ah, okay. Not a question. Okay.
Tongue-in-cheek.
Tongue-in-cheek,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, you talk of impermanent, everything is impermanent, right? Nothing is permanent, right? Now, my question is awakening impermanent also? Liberation and impermanence?
Awakening is permanent.
So something
you are
is
awake
permanent.
now, right? Now is...
so not everything is impermanent, right?
Right. Nibbana is permanent. Okay. Nibbana, the state of end of craving, is permanent. When you do not shake, when you have given up something, you know that you will not pick it up again. That you know that is the end of your craving. So that is permanent. So if you, some people will give up their smoking, you offer them, they say like that, reject. There's an end of the craving. So the Nibbana means end of defilements, end of cravings. So that is a permanent knowledge. Right.
Thank you.
Not much tongue-in-cheek. Okay. I like to have other tongue-in-cheeks. Yes.
Hello, Doctor. Just now I was missing some parts of your last. You put about 6 conditions, is it?
Oh, right. Okay.
Can you repeat it?
You can read the Maha Parinibana Sutta. That's for reference. The 6 conditions is that loving kindness in private and public, right? And then sharing whatever they receive in the alms bowl, in private as well and in public. That means when they actually share everything, and their training, they will actually train in the sila, the samadhi, and the panya, right? And then they will actually encourage the insights, and then to encourage the insights to be practiced. They will encourage practitioners to practice those that leads to the 3 characteristics of existence, the 4 noble truths, etc.
So these are more applicable to monks' life, right?
Like I say, actually is for practitioner. Does it mean that, when you say loving kindness, it doesn't mean only monk can have it. No? So it's actually you can use it for your daily life. You want to be loving in public and in private. But the spouses can be loving in the private lah, It's just, you see the whole, you read the whole part of it, the whole part, you see how he builds on it. At the end of that, he wrap it up so that it's not dry. It's actually, you live in a community. You live in a community, you have to be loving, you have to be metta, right? And that you have to share, and you have to promote your precepts and the training. So this is just virtue, samadhi, panya. And that this is just not only for bhikkhus, it's for practitioners. If the practice for the bhikkhu for nibbana, then a practice for any person who want to practice that nibbana is possible also. Okay. You're not so satisfied already?
No.
No.
No, it's that I hear a lot of people say that, the standard that the Buddha set for the monk is considered high. So as a lay people to practice the same way, it may be challenging.
Okay.
So how do we set our own standard, towards that?
Actually, the Nibbana is open to door. The doors are open to everybody. You don't conceptualize, I'm a bhikkhu, I'm a non-bhikkhu. There is a conventional sangha with the robes, and there's a non-conventional sangha that is not with robes. But the practice is still upright, still good, still wise, still true. So the practice is for the practitioner. He tells you this. It doesn't mean that, and then he tells you this is the good way to practice. And there was a sutta that was actually mentioned, Ananda Pindika. Ananda Pindika at his death's door was given a sutta by Sariputta that the six sense bases, that the six sense objects, what you see, you hear, etc., the objects of sight, sound, etc., are impermanent. The six sense bases, your eyes, your nose, your tongue, are impermanent. Your six sense consciousness are impermanent. Your ear consciousness, your eye consciousness are impermanent. And when he hears this sutta, he says, oh, so wonderful, this sutta. And then he says, Sariputta, how come I never hear this sutta being spoken before? And then Sariputta says that it's only for the bhikkhus. Okay. Then he says, may I request that this type of suttas be actually also be spoken to lay people. So now we have internet access. We can access all the suttas. Lay people can access all the suttas. And the suttas are for guiding us to practice. A bhikkhu with the robes and a practitioner is the same. Like I say, it's just like a one-cell organism. Just robe differently only. Our external appearance, we still contact. It's in an environment when we contact. When we feel, we perceive, we think. So the thing here is that then we have to be mindful of the context. Hear, hearing, see, seeing. And that the responses has to be harmonious. If your responses is with anger, hatred, greed, then you might then have the reactions, more hatred, more greed. So it is with loving kindness and sharing that we want have to be practiced. Otherwise, how to reduce greed, hatred? So with loving kindness, sharing, practicing, then one would reduce our habits of greed, hatred, and delusion. So it is a practice not only for the bhikkhus, and the teaching is now very open. So it's not only for bhikkhus, but also lay practitioners as well. So this not enough, huh? Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for your
good
Dhamma sharing.
afternoon.
I would like to ask you, would you like to give us three simple actions that we can practice our loving kindness if I'm a beginner in Buddhism? Three simple and practical actions on practicing loving kindness in our daily life.
Okay.
So that from this Dhamma, then after that we can practice in our daily life. Would you like to give us some?
3 actions, loving kindness,
Yeah,
is it?
simple and practical.
Okay. So the Buddha says in actions, 3 actions will be body, verbal, and mind. So these are your 3 actions in body, okay, and then the words, and then mind. So these are 3 things you ask for. So these are the 3 things.
Can you give me some examples? Thank you.
Okay. So actually each one will expand. Okay, each one will expand. Okay, in the mind is foremost. So in this right understanding, and then the Eightfold Path, the right understanding is the Four Noble Truths. Okay, the Four Noble Truths, there's suffering, arising, ceasing, the path. The thing is that if you suffer, you don't want another to suffer, right? Huh? So here you would actually practice that way. Would what I say cause harm to another? What I do cause harm to another? Right? Huh? So here, although you think, I think akusala, but I didn't do it, what? So can it be? But when you see, when you think, there's certain muscles in your face will twitch. You all hear about that, not? Okay, certain muscles will twitch. So you must have kusala thoughts. Kusala thoughts are most important because thoughts drive. So the practice is actually thoughts. So when there are akusala thoughts, then you must abandon it. You must be careful of it. No? Okay, so right thoughts. Right thoughts, what are the right thoughts? So he says, nikama, let go of your craving. Let go. Then he says, non-ill will. If you don't have loving kindness, he says, don't have ill will. And then non-cruelty. So there's right thoughts. Letting go, non-ill will, non-cruelty. If you have the main goal in mind, the Four Noble Truths, then the speech will not be forced, will not be harsh, will not be gossipy, will not be backbiting. Because if you know the right Dharma, you will commit the right karma. Dharma, karma. Karma through your mind, through your speech, through your action. So you remind yourself of impermanence, that death is certain, life is uncertain. If you remind yourself every day that it is, life is uncertain, death is certain, is impermanent, then there will be a natural that, it's all, it is the Four Noble Truths. You know the right Dharma, then you will commit the right karma through the mind, the speech, and the action. So the Buddha taught Rahula before, during, after. You must think about your action before, during, after. He says that do not lie. He says the water, if you lie, you have thrown away your practice. If you look, then he says, look at the container, it's empty. If you lie, it's empty. If you lie, he put it down, upside down. The practice is upside down. So he says, do not lie. And he says, before, during, after, an action. This has to be, because we are men of reflection, we have a mind to think. Sometimes we act too fast. So then after that, you have to think. You have to reflect. Oh, I'm not going to do such action anymore. Okay, so this is, during, then you stop yourself. After, if it's committed already, you think, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Before, if it's before, they say, oh, I shouldn't do it. It causes affliction to myself, to another, to both. Don't do it. So this itself, the loving kindness comes after that, because you have this loving kindness, everybody's suffering. We all deluded. Okay, we're all deluded. And that dementia, stage 1 dementia classified under fast is normal people. Stage 1, we all deluded. Okay, okay, so here we want to practice body, mind, and then action, verbal actions. Okay, now.
Well, yeah, I want to ask about the MHA.
Oh, MHA, okay.
The A of the MHA, the ancient.
Okay.
I think you mentioned that ancient laws must be preserved, right? But in the modern context, when we look at laws, laws that are outdated, we must abandon or give up. Okay, I'll just give you one example. This might come as a surprise to many of the ladies here. In Britain, there used to be a law that says whatever belongs to the husband belongs to the husband. Whatever belongs to the wife belongs to the husband. So that was a law. There was a law in Britain.
Belongs to the
whatever belongs to the wife belongs to the husband.
Oh, right.
Whatever belongs to the husband belongs to the husband.
That's I agree is outdated.
Yeah. So so that's why I'm saying that you must abandon outdated laws.
So actually, the ancient laws are in time. There are certain practices that are actually cause harm, and then that. So it must be wisdom lah. The wisdom faculty has to come in, but it's not like a snap of a finger for elections or whatever. Then okay, change. Okay, that's the part of it. But here we are talking about ancient. There will be changes. So the Buddha knows that impermanence, laws are impermanent. So there are Vinaya rules also 225. Rules. So the Sangha still keep to them, 225, so that they maintain the practice. So it's ancient traditions, right? But then he will say, the Buddha walked barefooted, right? Walk barefooted. And then you can hear that, Rahula, will bring the container to wash his feet, right? But then in the bhikkhus who stay in the mountainous area, they wear leather shoes they can wear, because otherwise there will be a lot of wounds on the feet. So it is for practical reasons. He doesn't keep laws that are rigid. But then certain laws, ancient laws that have to be, that are old and it will be changed with time to time. And it is, people will ask for change. But then people want to think very hard about it before you change it. Not like a snap of a finger. It's not like, because they have a unity and they respect the laws, so that they say, this is the 7 conditions. It's just to say, this 7 conditions is that they respect. It's all about respect. It's all about respect the laws of the country. That it is not overturned overnight. So this is to be taken in that context. Tong, tong, tong. 12:30.
Sorry, hello, Doctor.
Yes.
Just one question about the recent newspaper talking about the monk, that actually his behavior, he disrobe and go to the MBS. And after that, he robe again, go to the temple. So, what is your opinion about that kind of behavior?
What's that? This news is, I'm a bit backdated also.
Just recently, the monk, actually, he visited his friend from Taiwan. He was invited to the MBS hotel. And he actually disrobed and changed to a normal t-shirt and pants. And he met his friend in the hotel. And he actually used a spa and a gym. Then the second morning, he changed back and go to the temple. So there's a comment in the papers, but what do you think about?
Okay, so the bhikkhu, so we all said moral, the other part is what? Moral fear, moral dread, right? So moral fear, moral dread will not allow you to actually commit any wrong. Right, So then a bhikkhu, I think is just the robed man is just robed in the robes, but then not robed in the mind. So then this is not a bhikkhu. So, okay, they are asked to disrobe if they commit 4 things in the Theravada tradition. If you commit sexual misconduct, if you kill, you steal, and then you declare yourself as an Arya for profit, so then you're asked to disrobe. So this person who commit such, he is under jurisdiction of the own Sangha that he is in. So the own Sangha will sort of have the rules. So I'm not too certain if you say Taiwan whether he's what kind of order. So we all know from Theravada it has like evolved and they have many schools, 18 schools. And then after that, 3rd century BC change, and then now we have developed a lot of schools. But it is we know from the practice. We know from our practice that we are true to ourselves. We have to be truthful. We have to be honest. Okay, so that doesn't look like a very practitioner practice. So it's quite easy. So this is when you commit certain things, this is each individual karma. And he will experience the vipaka. So the vipaka is, now you're talking about it. And then vipaka is that his requisites or his standing will diminish in the Sangha community. Right? Huh? So that is his karma.
It's acceptable for us like a Buddhist community, right? This kind of behavior will not be accepted.
Right. And then you offer only to virtuous monks. So in the 6 conditions, they say the offering is for virtuous. They share among the virtuous monks. It's very clear down there, right? Virtuous monks, the ones who practice. So when they share,
We can't tell actually whether the Sangha, whether they are virtuous or not, right? We will just offer.
Yes. We are talking about the bhikkhus, they know themselves. Right. And then we don't know them, but then now you know, right, from this incident, you're unlikely to be offering to this particular person who went to where? The casino, right? So you will not offer to the person who actually went to the MBS. Okay. You already decided. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Then we end. What's the usual protocol? Tradition?
Thank you, Dr. Ng, for her insight.